QR code frauds or quick response code frauds are something that have been around for quite some time. They were first developed in 1994 in Japan for the automotive industry, but have now progressed to become one of the simplest methods of transaction online. A QR code is basically a matrix-like black and white square image which hides information of a prospective website or a bank account inside it. Its basic purpose is to make the process of transacting between individuals extremely easy. It's very similar to the basic idea of a URL. Now, instead of remembering an IP address, what we type in the Uniform Resource Locator is www.google.com. Instead of typing in, for example, 125.128.22.1. The idea basically is it's easier to remember names than numbers. However, in terms of QR codes, the attempt is to make it even easier. All you need to do is have a mobile phone which has a scanner in it, and you see that code in front of you belonging to the merchant who you want to transact with. You scan that image on your UPI interface and it picks up the merchant's information. And then you decide how much money you want to transfer on to the merchant. There are basically two kinds of frauds that can take place in this situation. Number one, where the merchant itself provides you wrong information about the account to which the money needs to be transferred. Let us presume a situation where I'm an employee at a mobile phone store. Instead of providing the mobile phone store's QR code, I create my own QR code and provide it to a customer who's transacting with me. The customer will not understand who he's making the payment to because that is hidden behind the QR code. As far as the customer is concerned, the customer has made the transaction, will show you the details, and since you've seen the green on the UPI system, you will presume that the transaction's already gone through till you realize that the payments have actually not gotten through to your account. Another system in which this fraud actually happens is if I take a printout of my own QR code, which is extremely easy to do. If I go on to PhonePe or Google Pay, I can look at my own QR code and take a printout of it. And I cut it out in the form of a QR code printed on a white sheet of paper. Go on to a vendor's shop, and if the shop is extremely busy and I say, can I make payment through a UPI system using the QR code? He will hand over the QR code to you. And instead of scanning his QR code, you scan your own QR code and you make the payment on that. The transaction is of such a nature that it'll take a few seconds for the money to get transferred from your account to the vendor's account. And if the store is extremely crowded, they may not pay attention to the transfer immediately. This obviously generally happens in transactions which are of low denomination. So if you're going to a cigarette shop or a chai tapri, or something like that. This generally will not happen for high value transactions. So for example, if you're going to a Chroma and transacting for about 30,000 rupees, it's unlikely that the person sitting across the counter won't check if the money is gotten through. But it might happen at a crowded pan tapri, where the transaction amount is basically 30 or 40 rupees, and there are a lot of people waiting in line, and they're not really expecting the individual to commit a fraud. The person may scan his or her own QR code, transfer the money back into their own account, and pretend as if they've made the payment to the vendor. So if we look at the nature of QR code or UPI frauds, it takes place because of a lack of understanding of the security features that have been enabled in these systems, or because of carelessness. So as long as we make sure that we do not share our information with anybody, make sure that we are clear about who we are transacting with, and ensure that the transaction is gotten through, and ensure that we don't install unknown third-party softwares into our devices, UPI scams and QR code scams can be easily avoided. I hope you like this video, and if you have any queries for us, please feel free to write a comment below and we will respond to you.